Jared, first of all, I just want to say, bro, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule for having this sit down conversation with me. Thank you so much, bro.
Absolutely.
Before we get started and dive into the first question, I just want to let you know, bro, that with this podcast, what I'm really trying to do is just bring value and stick to the truth as much as possible, and talk about your experiences. As I was mentioning to you on the phone earlier before we are shooting this episode, I mentioned that there is no right or wrong answers. I want it to be 100% from your experience. So even if you need to take a moment to kind of think about the question, whatever it may be, don't think that you're taking too long to answer a question. I definitely want to hear you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to start us off, bro, for the first question, where are you from? Where are you born?
Born and raised right here in Glendale, Arizona, actually.
Very cool. Awesome. What's your nationality, bro?
I am Hispanic, so I've got like Mexican and like Native on my dad's side, and then I have like Spaniard and Mexican on my mom's side, and I like there's supposed to be like some Irish back there somewhere, but I don't. We've never done the 23andMe. This is all like hearsay from family members. You know, my mom is white with red hair, and my
Yeah.
sister is white with red hair, but me
Yeah.
and my brother look like my dad. You know, so it's a whole thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, bro. So being in Arizona, man, this is kind of what has like been your experience? So before I dive into that, let me just rewind really quick. What got you into acting? When did that spark really hit you?
Dude, honestly, that's a big question. That's a big question that's going to lead to like other stuff. So if you want to cut me off at any point and like bring it up later, or not revert, but call back to it later on, that's
Hmm.
cool. But my acting journey is like a little bit like how I got started. The spark is a little bit different than most people. For me, I was raised in a very the term is legalistic church, which is not a horrible thing. You know, it's there's something to be said, and I want to be so careful in how I say this. There is there is a beauty to a set of people who will so consecrate their life to God that they will restrict different parts of the world as we know it because they want to be so set apart and dedicated to God. That's beautiful. Great
Hmm.
thing. There's monks that do it in other parts of the world, and and it's a beautiful thing, right? But included in that list of restrictions was no movies, no television, no television in the house at all. Um, as a matter of fact, the first movie I saw was Aladdin when I was like 4 years old at grandma's house. She snuck it in and she let us watch, because she wasn't part of the church.
Hmm.
I didn't see another movie till I was like 8 or 9, and I saw bits and pieces of Grease at the dentist office, the musical.
Hmm.
And then I was in high school. I saw the Gattaca. I saw parts of the island. I saw A Beautiful Mind and Juno in health class. And none of those, while those were always like, oh, these stories are cool, and I've always loved stories. I've even been a storyteller in my, when I was in my early teens, I started writing books, right? Um, but it wasn't until I was like 19 to 21, somewhere in there is when I first started like really watching movies like on my own. And believe it or not, this is the silliest story, and it's not like crazy cool. Like I didn't see um, what's that movie with in this? I can't think of anything right now. The movie in the snow. It's winter time. There's people trying to take over the airport. Die Hard. I didn't watch Die Hard like, oh, I want to do that. Like, dude, it was literally High School Musical, bro. I saw High School
Although that's a great
Musical,
movie,
and
and
I
let's
was
let's
like,
let's talk about those type of that genre, the High School Musical, bro, because
yeah.
I want to say this, and just to kind of put a fact out there, I came up in the dance realm, performance
Oh, that's
first,
dope.
before theater, before acting. So, but talk about that, bro. Go back on the High School Musical, and that was the film that really got your like artistry going. That was the spark for you.
Well, artistry and the fact of acting.
Hmm.
Because I can play the piano, I can sing. I don't
Oh,
know how to
dope.
dance that well,
Sick.
but I'm musically inclined. So I saw this, and I'm very athletic as well. So I see Zach Efron over here playing basketball, singing, all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, I could do this. Like, and that guy's really cool. Like, I could be cool, maybe, because I wasn't the popular kid in school. Like, so while I was born, really quick, while I was born and raised here in Phoenix, Arizona, or Glendale. For 7 years, we moved from Glendale, Arizona to El Paso, Texas. And my
Okay.
dad was the pastor of a church. But again, part of that, upbringing and the religious thing is like, you can't have friends that aren't part of the church as well, because iron sharpened iron. You should not be unequally yoked together, right? That whole thing. So even with friends, so I didn't have any friends because it was a very small church. There was like consistently there was 7 to 12 of us, and 5 of those were my family. So I didn't really have a lot of friends. I was never really popular in school. I didn't have a school to be popular in because the public school I went to wasn't allowed to hang out there.
Hmm.
Homeschooling that I did was just me. So there was a lot that went in there, and I was like, I think I could do this. I don't know how to like have friends like this, and I don't know how to be cool, but I think I could do something like this, right? Fast forward, it took me another 10 years to kind of break out of the mindset of like, oh, this is evil, this is wrong. It took me a little bit longer, like several years before I finally got out of the mindset of like, this is evil, this is wrong. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try. And so I reached out on Instagram, looked up hashtag actor and looked that up.
Hmm.
I messaged like 30 different people, no joke, actually 30 random strangers, like, hey, they had actor in their bio. I was like, hey, my name is Jared. I want to get started in acting. I have no idea how to get started. Can you point me in the right direction? And I will always say her name. Rebecca Patton is an amazing actress. She was here. She moved to New Mexico. She's the only one who replied to me. And she gave me so much information. She pointed me to Good Faith Casting, right, with Bella Hibbs.
Hmm.
And that's why I got started because Bella used to have these new actor days. And so I came in, I started, and I did a short film. I was an extra, and I was like, okay, this is kind of new, and everything like that. But it was a process, right? It was a journey to get to the point where I am now. But now on this side of everything, I've been acting for like almost 4 years now, and I have like this philosophy that I've kind of came up with, and it is this, right? Everything that we know about in the world is stories, whether it's God, whether it is the Pythagorean theorem, whether it's astrophysics. Somebody wrote it down and told the story. This scientist discovered this historian did this leader, this conqueror, this man named Jesus did this, right? Everything we know is story based. So it is my philosophy that stories are the foundation upon which the world was built. And if I am nothing else, I am first and foremost a storyteller.
No, absolutely, bro. And I feel like people will leave. I mean, talking about faith, talking about God, bro. And I'm trying to dive into the Bible. It's a very King James version. Maybe I need to start with a different version because to me, I'm entry level, and I needed to stop saying that, so I needed to dive into it more.
Yeah.
But maybe I need to start with the NIV version, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like start at level one, and everything is very transparent and very easy to read. Is the difference between those versions? Um, but let's kind of stay on the topic of faith, and then also kind of finding your tribe within this industry. Because as you know, this industry can be a little dark. It does kind of ask you things to you do have to kind of show up for yourself. At the same time, some things are requested that you might not be uncomfortable with. So kind of talk about that. What were your challenges in the beginning, or what are your challenges now?
Um, yeah, like, and I'll keep it like faith based too, a little bit. First of all, and dude, if you're gonna be reading the NIV, that's great. I was born and raised on King James Version, so like I understand that version the most.
Hmm.
Um, but people, not everybody was raised reading, Old English. So like, dude, if NIV is what you understand, bro, that's great. Any
That's absolutely where I'm going to start, and then the King James is going to be next level. You know what I'm saying? So
all of
absolutely,
these thous, whetherfores, hitherfore, yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot of reading. It's heavy reading, but it's really good. I think they say that the King James version is the most poetic version, um, because of the old school English, right? But I mean, that's something that I was again born and raised in, and for a small time I was actually a preacher as well. So like I have a lot of scripture knowledge memorized because couldn't play sports, but could memorize the Bible and go do Bible quizzing. So that's what I did. Um, it's really good though. It's something, to be honest, that I've kind of gotten away from for a long time. And this
Hmm.
ties into the whole finding your tribe thing. Last year was a really tough year for me. And acting wise, I had found a community, and people are people, right? I'm gonna say it this way. I don't think anybody wakes up and says, you know what, I'm just gonna be a horrible person today.
I
I
agree.
think I think that people are people, and people. If you were to ask any random stranger, hey, like, given everything that's going on in your life, right? The weights, the anxiety, the overwhelm that you feel with everything you're trying to balance in your world, Do you feel like you're doing your best? I feel like most people, it's like, yeah, dude, I'm doing my best. This is the best I can do. This is where I'm at, right? So I use that as a preface to say I went through like a lot of stuff last year, and it's kind of bled over into this year. I made some really bad mistakes. I've made poor career decisions. I've made poor decisions that have impacted people that I called friends, and that is something that, like, I was at church today, dude, and I was just like, you get emotional whenever you're talking to God, and it's like, man, like I know that I've messed up, and like I never ever want to feel that way, like, in my heart again, from mistakes that I've made, because I love people, right? I was born and raised. I'm not born, but I was raised to love people, to care about people, to serve
Mhm.
people, and I feel like sometimes tying into the industry, we get so, and well, maybe not everybody, but definitely me, maybe a character flaw on my side. I get so, I want the success so bad.
Mhm.
And I want to be seen as a great actor, as your favorite actor, right? I may not be the best, but if I'm your favorite, that means something to me.
Mhm.
Um, and we get so caught up with, oh, well, my friend over here is booked, and my friend over there is booked, and somebody that I know over here is, they're all working, and I'm just like doing my slate. Hi, my name is Jared, for the, the 80th,
Mhm.
90th, 100th time, between bookings, and I'm like, so in all of that angst and anxiety of wanting to be successful, I have at times acted in ways that hurt people that I really cared about in the industry, people that I thought were my tribe. And it's gone both ways. I'm not saying that I was 100% at fault, but I can only take accountability for my part of it, right?
Mhm.
And I say, like, finding your tribe is huge, but more important than that, I would say, being true to who you are is more important, because there have been decisions I've made and actions I've taken out of a need to survive, and out of a desire to feel like I belong. And at the end of the day, like, if it's not who I am, it doesn't make me feel good, and it doesn't let me sleep at night. And in the end, it hurt me and people that I love and care about more than anything. Last year was a tough year, bro. It
Mhm.
was a
No, I
tough
feel
year.
that,
Like,
bro. Yeah,
yeah,
and I want to say this, bro. Comparison, and it's so much easier said than done. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I've fallen into that as well, comparing myself to other people, because for the same exact reason you just mentioned. You see other people, and they're your friends. You're rooting for them. You
yeah,
want them to get the gig. You want them to get the job. But where's my opportunity? Let me just go back and mention on what you said when you're like, yo, I'm doing the slate 95, 96, 100th time. I want to let you know during that process, bro, and I felt this, so I just have to say it. I want to let you know during that repetition process, bro, you are literally just sharpening your sword or
yeah,
tightening up your axe. You know what I'm saying? As a blacksmith would, finalizing, because, bro, like with repetition, you're gonna get good. Nobody's trying to be perfect. Nobody is going to be perfect. That's the
yeah,
beauty of being an artist, the creativity process. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Um, but yeah, bro, finding your tribe is definitely difficult, because I have also hurt some people, and at the same time, I was hurt, not knowing I was hurting people. And my kind of, if I can, be vulnerable for a minute, was substance abuse, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was very hard for me to stay sober. You know what I mean? Very hard for me to say that now, man. I'll be honest with you. But it was a relationship that I needed to strengthen with God. You know what I mean? And I feel like everything and anything that we talk about just falls back into that. I don't care what we choose to believe in. It's just the truth. Like, I'm not against anything. I would never be bashful towards anything, but I just feel like it's the truth. Have you had, and I feel like I already know the answer to this, but I just want to hear the story. Have you had your faith tested um, while being in this industry?
yeah. Yes, absolutely. My faith has been tested. Like, when you say my faith, you mean like my belief in God, or do you mean like my belief, like in my morals and my values and that kind of thing?
I actually want to the second part, the morals
Okay.
and values. Yeah.
Yeah, my faith in God is pretty unshakable. I was I spent a lot of that alone time in my teens, developing my relationship with God, because I was alone. And whenever you're alone and you just talk to God every day and stuff like that for hours, you develop a pretty good relationship to know that God, that to me, is very, very real. Um, with the other thing, yes, absolutely, my faith in what I believe in, my morals and my values has definitely been challenged. And I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like I have dropped the baton so many times, dude.
Same.
So many times, and it's really big of you to be vulnerable about something as big as substance abuse. The areas that I've dropped the baton, and I don't think I'm ready to talk about those things, like name them yet. But I will say like I've definitely I can say like in some things, like in some relationships that I have sought. Um, I've made pretty bad mistakes, and it hurt. It hurt me. It hurt my career. Gave me a bad reputation for a little bit. Hurt my family a little bit once they found out some things.
Mm,
Just and that's not who I am, nor is it who I want to be. That kind of thing. So um, it's absolutely. But I will say this: my faith, my value, my beliefs, my morals, they haven't ever really been challenged by the industry itself.
mhm.
What I found in my experience, the challenges that came with my morals and my beliefs, all that kind of stuff, it came as a result of access to certain things. Oh, you're an actor now. Oh, you're an actor? Hey, I do this or I do that. Like, and then like relationships would start or not start or get torn up. Not because of the industry, not because a writer or a director was like, hey, we want you to do this in the film
Mhm.
or anything like that. But it was more like, hey, oh my God, you're an actor. That's so cool. How come hang out with me and my friends? And, we do this thing or we do that thing. And so I was there and I was now in the company of, some things that I maybe don't agree with. And, you can't put you can't put well, I don't want to say it that way because I don't think people are like horrible people. Again, that goes back to earlier, but you can't hang out in an environment that is filthy and hope to stay clean. Like you're gonna pick up some stuff, right? You pick up energy of people that are around you. Especially if you're an actor, being an empath is a huge part of that. You have to be able to read your scene partners, right? So you can't. Who you hang out with does have a huge impact. Um, so for me, my struggles and my challenges were more like, hey, who I was hanging out with, what I was opening myself up to by being in different circles, and those are the areas. But again, it was never industry specific. It was never a director or a photographer or someone saying, hey, we need you to do this for the film. If you want to be successful in this industry, you have to go do this or you have to go do that. It was always the things that came as a result of me being in the industry, but not directly. Does that make sense? Correlation
Absolutely,
is
bro.
not equal causation, that kind of thing. It's it's correlated because I'm an actor and because I'm an entertainer in the storytelling industry, but it's not a fault of the industry. And I think to your point earlier, yes, there are some absolute dark, harrowing things that happen in the industry, but I haven't had that experience yet, and I'm grateful that I haven't had that experience. Mine has been all because I'm in the industry, I get access to other things that um, challenge me. And again, I drop the ball a lot.
Yeah, well, I
Uh,
hope and I pray, bro, that we never get into those opportunities. And sometimes being an actor, bro, I feel that it gives you the access you don't want.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you do slowly become, even on a local level, man, it is a small community and man, it's growing, but you do get known. You do become a familiar face. I also wanted to ask you this, man. What does forgiveness mean to you?
Um, that's it's interesting because I feel like I've being raised in the extreme on the church side, and then now that I'm no longer as extreme, I see like two different sides of it, right? You have the extreme of forgiveness, which is like complete forgiveness. I'm never going to remember more that you even hurt me in the past. And then after everything that happened last year, again, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. Like you mentioned earlier, like you hurt some people and you were hurt as well. Like that happened to me last year a lot. Um, so for me, forgiveness has started to look more like, hey, I'm going to forgive you. I'm not going to bear any ill will towards you. I'm not going to hate on you. I'm going to silently wish you the best. And, if a thought of you pops into my head, I'm like, oh, hope they're doing good. And then just keep it going. So it's more of a, I forgive you for the hurt and pain you caused me, but I can't forget what you did because if I do, I had the naivety of being too trusting, right? So I would trust too easily and I would get hurt as a result of it. And so what I've learned is, yeah, it's okay to forgive. You don't have to bear ill will toward them, or bitterness or resentment or anger or envy of them.
Hmm.
You can let it go. But when
I
it
have
comes
that
to,
quality as well, bro. You
yeah,
know, this goes back
the
to you having a big heart, man, and wanting to help people, and going back to like building the tribe, it is putting yourself out there and connecting and, being vulnerable.
yeah,
But back to forgiveness, bro. Love the fact that you've forgiven those people. Love the fact that you're also hanging on to the fact that, yes, these people once have may hurt you, but keep in mind, this is going to be a constant cycle if we don't literally forget about it. I say forget about it and pray for them. You know what
right.
I mean? Have you forgiven yourself?
That's something I am working on actively. With some things, yeah, I absolutely have. And
Mhm.
there are other things that I've done, and I'm like, man, like if I think about it, I'm like, oh, why did I do that? That kind of thing, right? But it's interesting that you say that, because like, yeah, in the industry, it's something that can happen over and over again, right? And the Bible tells us to guard our hearts, right? Because it's great to have a big heart, and I have a huge heart. Like I love helping people. Like my heart hurts when I see someone and I can't help them, or like you can tell me, hey, do you have an idea for it? I'm like, dude, tell me about it. Like I just want to
You
know.
do
Like,
100%.
how can I
Yeah, yeah,
help? Right? That kind
yeah.
of thing. But guarding your heart is important too. It's a brave thing to bare your heart, to bare your soul.
Hmm.
It's an even braver thing to guard it and protect it, because it is so worth protecting, right? It's like you don't. It's like somebody else uh, said this, but also I'll change it up so I don't reference that individual specifically. But if you had $1 million gold and diamond plated, not diamond plated, so $1 million gold and diamond necklace, would you just leave it on the street for everyone to grab and poke and prod and steal? No, you would protect that because it's valuable. And I feel like when it comes to having a big heart, protect it, guard it, give it to those who you can trust, right? But that also I feel like teaches us to learn how to trust people. It's not, hey, I just met you, I trust you. It's, hey, I met you. How you doing? Let me see who you are. Who are you as a person? And then with some time and maturity, you learn, oh, okay, I can trust this person to be honest and true and have my back, or not do things, not push me to do things that aren't in my best interest. Um, but sorry, back to your question: have I forgiven myself?
You're totally
Uh,
good, bro. You're totally good,
it's
man.
it's I feel like the forgiving myself is a work in progress. I feel like sometimes when you're raised in church, you learn to fear God and the judgment of God. And yes, sometimes in my case, you put so much prevalence on fearing the judgment of God that you forget about the deep, deep, deep fatherly love of God, which overrides the judgment's still there, sure, but God loves you, right?
Hmm.
And so like I leaned much to the judgment side of things. So now as I'm getting older and I'm learning to give myself grace. That's something I told you in the text messages, right? You're like, oh man, I messed up on the last one. I said, no, dude, give yourself grace, because
Hmm.
and I said that to you not as a chiding you in any way, or to correct you. It's more like I'm saying it to you because I'm saying it to myself
I
so much.
loved hearing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
bro, because we were not, again, not trying to be perfect. The only mark I'm trying to hit is God's mark. At the end of the day, yes, I'm trying to please the people that I bring on. I mentioned I am trying to be selective with who I bring on,
Yeah.
and try to keep it around your truth and the value. And I'm thankful that you are comfortable talking about your faith in
Yeah.
God. And it is going to be a struggle, and no matter what we do, as long as we have God in our heart, God in our spirit, there's nothing we can do to separate that love. Now, why is that? Because you mentioned it, and I just wanted to add in front of the word love, I just want to put the word unconditional. That's why no
Gotcha.
matter what we do, like it's an unconditional love. You know what I mean? You think your mom and dad love you, and absolutely they do unconditionally. Imagine your heavenly Father who created you. You
Yeah.
know, but let me put a pause on that for just a second and dive into some acting questions.
Yeah.
How were some of the ways you did kind of mention using social media, DMing people who had the name actor in their bio? But how are some of the ways that you ended up getting some auditions or getting some bookings within your first year of acting?
Um, I was on Arizona Extras in my first year. That's where I booked the first thing. I followed Bella's the I can't even think of the word. It's not. It's a list that she sends out, and it's her casting list that Good Faith Casting has.
The email
Um,
list.
yeah,
Yeah.
the email list is her. You can subscribe to her email list. I don't know if that's what she posts. That's more like her encouraging you and like like her own little blog that she sends out to you. But
Mm,
like her actually, if you go to her website, they actually have a list of the breakdowns. I
mm,
would follow Good Faith Casting breakdowns. I actually haven't had much experience, or I shouldn't say not experience, but like success with being booked off of social media alone. Everything I've booked has either been um, a breakdown list somewhere or an audition. In one case, there was something I was booked on as a result of knowing two other friends who were, and one of them was going to be the lead on this TV show. And he helped bring me and another friend on, so all three of us were booked. That was the only one that I've ever booked as like word of mouth.
mm.
Um, Other than that, it's been primarily through um, just auditioning, submitting audition. That's not. I'm sorry, that's not true. There is one other one that I'm currently in. Um, that was through. We met through a friend, and he was the director, writer of it, and he pulled me on. But other than that, nothing on social media. I mean, but I know people that are successful, and like people reach out to them all the time. One of my old co-stars on a soap opera I used to be on, she would get reached out to all the time, and she was very successful with, at least if nothing else, being sent submissions for. I'm sorry, sent auditions. She would have auditions and scripts sent to her and sides, and hey, can you audition for this? That's never happened to me, but
Mm.
it's just a different journey. But that's been
Yeah.
my experience.
No, absolutely, bro. I want to give a shout out to Rebecca. You mentioned her earlier because she was the only one that responded to you
Yeah.
when you were in the beginning, and she kind of gave you some gems to start with. Super awesome. So shout out to Rebecca, and then also shout out to Bella over at Good Faith Casting,
Yeah.
just for being the light that she is. She's always posting gems. I definitely got the interest of the artist. Like I have yet to meet her, and I can already feel that. You know what I'm
Oh, you've
saying?
never you've never met Bella?
I've never met her, bro. Yeah. So, and I'm
Bella's
this year is a little different. I'm trying to really see what God wants me to do. Like, I'm not saying do I continue acting and it's like a countdown for me, but I decided to walk away from my agency. I haven't auditioned for anything in a while, and then in my heart, it just something was like, "Hey, man, connect with the people that you work with through the form of the podcast." Okay, cool. Let's do that. You know what I mean? I got that little vision message from God, and here I'm at, or here I am. And then when God tries to communicate with you, He's not going to give you the whole
Yeah.
picture. It's going to be one block of wood, and here we are working at that piece. But no, I would love to meet her. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I've heard nothing but wonderful things about her. And again, just shout out to her, just being super badass and just being for the people. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
she's great, dude. Yeah, if the next industry event that I go to, there's an industry event next Saturday. If you want, I can grab you a ticket. If you want to go to the next red carpet, I got you.
Hell yeah, bro. Definitely. I might take you up on that offer. Again, I've been invited by the Arizona filmmakers and nothing on them, but I just haven't been, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say like in the mood, but I just haven't been feeling it. You know what I mean? I encourage
Yeah,
definitely what Arizona filmmakers is doing and that whole team. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I love reposting and showing love on that. But I might take you up on that offer, bro, for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, let me see. Let me see what other questions I got, man. I'll be honest with you, man. I really wanted to see how long we can go without me asking questions off of my phone because, as I mentioned before, I do have some questions written down. And I'll be honest, man, this is my first question that I'm actually going to pop right out of my phone. So let's dive into a little bit more acting, bro.
Yeah.
What do you think is better, knowing your lines or knowing your character, in your opinion? I make you want to say both. I know.
I know, dude. I would say knowing your lines, right? Because the director is the visionary for it, right? If you don't know your lines, then you're an unfinished canvas for him to work on, right? Like a canvas that's ready to be worked on, it's already been stapled to the frame, it's already ready to be used and painted on. You're not fully stapled. If you don't have your lines down, how can he have you deliver or change your delivery? He can always make changes to the character or give you a note on the character or hey, your character's feeling this way or that way. But if you're not off book, he's gonna say, hey, your character's feeling this way, and you missed a whole sentence that we needed because it's integral to the story, right?
Mhm.
Something that Deering Acting Studio taught me is every word matters. And I've been in a lot of projects where the director or the producer may have been like, hey, you know what, it's okay as long as you keep the lines that you say. You can improv them a little bit as long as you keep it like congruent to the story. I'm cool with that, and that's great. That's such a weight off the actor's shoulders. But um, being know your lines. Your
No,
lines are incredibly crucial. That's the most important part.
I almost want you to be like, bro, that's your job. And I
Yeah.
love the fact that you said you're almost like an empty canvas because your job is to memorize these lines. And sure, prep, do all that extra stuff. Where's your character coming from? Where's he at? Where they going? Whatever the case may be, however you choose to prep. But you mentioned an acting school, Deering Acting Studio. Are they an
Yeah.
acting agency or a school?
So that's so Deering is, first of all, they're amazing. I love them. They're faith based. Deering Acting Studio is the first place I took consistent classes because I did take classes with Good Faith Casting's Communication Method for Actors, which is ran
Mhm.
by Bella Hibbs' mom, Faith Hibbs. But Deering Acting Studio is the first place I took consistent lessons for like a year and a half almost.
Mhm.
And they are an acting studio for children and adults. They teach, Meisner method. They teach drama. They teach comedy. They teach a master class, which is incredible. But they're also Phoenix Casting, which does a lot of casting. Actually, I booked some big commercials, like the Arizona Lottery commercial. I booked through Phoenix Casting, which is held through Deering Acting Studio.
Which, congrats, by the way. I seen you post that on your Instagram. Absolutely, bro. Congratulations.
And then they also have uh, a nonprofit called Lighthouse, I believe. It's just a great company altogether. Great with the classes, great with the community involvement and engagement. And yeah, that's
You know me,
uh,
bro. You had me at faith based. You're like, yeah, they're an acting studio. They teach. They're faith based. Like, oh, okay, cool, man.
well, that's the thing that kind of got me right. Is because I thought, yeah, I'm gonna be like this Christian boy in this really dark community, right? I'm gonna try to be a light in the world here. And then I walked into Deering Acting Studio and I was like, hey, like everyone was really nice, And I said, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. I go into the bathroom, big old canvas, John 3:16. I'm like, okay, that's so this is faith based. And
Hmm.
then the other one, I forget what the other bathroom has. I think it has like Philippians 4:13 or something like that. I don't know, but they're like very popular verses that they have in there, and everything they talk about. If you talk to Matt Deering at all about it, he will just the way he talks about building up an army of people who believe and are in this industry just like as a force of good,
Hmm.
right? That's really what I want to be, and that goes back to like earlier, right? Like mistakes I make. I've made horrible decisions, and I'm sometimes like questioning myself, like, how am I going to be like if any of these decisions that I've made and things I've done ever get out? Like, it might ruin my reputation to where I can't act anymore. Like, I don't know, like because you had those thoughts in your head, right?
Hmm.
Like,
I
oh,
don't
you're not
think
going
that
to
will
be good.
happen, by the way. I don't think that will happen. Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I've it's that kind of stuff that I struggle with. Like, but sorry, I got away from the topic. The topic was like, yeah, Deering is and has always been just so good.
Hmm. How
Highly recommend.
important were you gonna say?
I highly recommend.
Absolutely, bro. And then with gotta get comfortable with this YouTube being a podcaster, bro. I need to post links down below. This is my sixth episode, so the people watching forgive me. But I do want to, you mentioned Bella's website that she has. I definitely want to put her links down below. I definitely want to put your links down below. Definitely got to do that for the artists as well. And then also the acting studio, Deering Acting Studio. I'm gonna look them up. I do follow them on social media. I want to put their information down below as well, just to show love and support. But to go back to stay on coaching and kind of taking classes. How important do you think that is to a performer?
I think I think as a performer, you should always be growing. You should always be working on your craft in some way. And the beautiful thing about being an actor is everything you go through and you live through can be used in your acting experience, right? If back to the thought of a canvas, right? And this isn't project specific, this is your life specific. If your life is a canvas, everything that you go through, every person you meet is as a stroke of the brush, right? And nobody knows but God what the end painting is going to look like, right? Nobody knows what
Right.
that script will be like when it's finally done, except for the author. Um, so like there's times, and you know, starving artist is a thing. I haven't always been able to afford. acting classes. Actually, that's why I stopped taking them initially, was just because at the time I just couldn't afford to take acting classes. And even right now, I'm not even in an acting class right now, but I do think they are great. Air freshener. I do think they are great, and I think that if you can't afford acting classes, what I do is I study people. Excuse me. So, like for example, if you're talking to somebody and pay attention to how their mouth moves when they smile or whenever they're talking. Like for me, when I talk, one side moves more than the other side does. Those are all character traits, right? Those are all things about that person that make them them. And it's not like a huge revelatory thing, but every little thing that you can do to work on your craft in your downtime while you're in between classes or being able to afford classes or in between projects, do it. Read books. I listen to audiobooks all the time. The Art of Acting by Stella Adler is a great book. She comes across like, you know, um, like a very stern mother, right? She's great. Blow the Bloody Doors Off by Michael Caine was a great book to read. Avoiding the Cutting Room Floor. It was a gift from me by my friend, other actress, Laura Oliver, and if you can just keep on listening, keep on growing in any way that you can, you're just slowly, adding another stroke to the canvas and moving it around and trying to make it look more and more just like a work of art that you are.
I do have to agree, bro. Like there are many resources that we can add to our toolbox. One by being utilizing technology.
Mhm.
Definitely let it be a audio book. I like hardcovers. I'll order one off Amazon, hardcover, whatever. I'll pay the 25, 35, sometimes 40. I'm like, dang, $40 for a book, bro. This better be like better like Bible, you know what I'm saying? But
You
yeah,
smell
bro.
it?
Huh? You said
Do you
what?
smell the books? Some people like
Uh
the actual book smell.
Not really. The only thing that's mandatory for me, bro, is just I need it to be a hardcover. I can't do a paperback. I don't want no audio. Put it in my headphones and listen to it, like run on the treadmill. I'm not really into that. I'm trying to build my library too.
Yeah.
Um, so I do have a few acting books as well that I need to dive into. I have a dialect little like sheet that just has like different accents and dialect and how to say all that stuff. I can definitely let you take a look at it, bro. I think you would enjoy that for sure.
That is pretty cool.
Another question though, bro. What makes a good scene partner?
Listening. But listening in acting is different than me listening to you right now, right?
Mhm.
Listening to you, like when I'm taking this podcast, I'm looking at you sometimes, and you can see my eyeline is off the camera. And then when I want you to like feel like I'm really listening, I'll look into the camera so you can like actually like I know that you don't actually see me looking at you, but the impact that it has on your psyche is that I'm looking at you and I'm paying attention, right? As opposed to this, my eyes are off you now, but they're actually on you, right?
Mhm.
So there's that thing. So listening as an actor is not just auditory. Listening as an actor is auditory and visual. You have to look at your scene partner, be aware of your scene partner, and be able to see all those things like the way the mouth moves. You have to be able to detect when your scene partner, if you're looking at them or looking in their direction, you can tell, are they tense? Are they not? Are they filled with rage? Are they filled with sadness? What's their emotional state? Because as a scene partner, you have to be able to feed into that to give them more room to play.
Mhm.
And a good scene partner will do the same exact thing for you, right? So I feel like listening is the biggest thing that a good scene partner will do is they will listen based on how you are playing your character, you as a whole are playing your character, and they will give you more space to play that. Because I think that goes back into something earlier like, oh well, this friend is successful, that friend is successful, and this person's a great actor, their scene is a great actor, but I'm not getting enough notice or notoriety for my acting, so I need to be bigger and bigger. And unfortunately, when you try to make yourself bigger than your scene partners, now you've impacted the entire performance as a whole. Whereas if you'd have just been listening and giving your scene partner, your scene partner more room to play, that then also gives you more room to play, and now you both look amazing. So it's a
No,
dichotomy.
absolutely.
It's a little flip flop of the mindset.
It is. It's challenging, man. Because again, if you're new, you're wanting to show up. This is your first time being booked on set, and let's say they got the expensive cameras, the expensive lights. You're like, holy smokes, this is like your first official set. Like, let's say what I mean by official set, and I want to say this very carefully because I came up with shooting with friends, and I'll still shoot with friends. Just
Yeah,
post it on my Facebook. I only want to do projects that help my friends and help my family. Like that's it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But with the struggle with that, bro, you first get on set and you forget that it should be very playful because you're stressed out. For me, bro, like my first year auditioning, I would be nauseous before every audition. You get booked even more. Yeah, I don't know why that was a thing. But that was one thing that I did kind of struggle with. And now it's like, okay, obviously through like whatever's going to happen is meant to be, and it's going to play out the way it needs to be. You can only prepare so much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I love that you said it is supposed to be very playful, but it is also through the acting classes that we take, through the utilizing the technology, YouTube, books, whatever it may be, adding more references to our toolbox. Then we're able to kind of go into that toolbox and see what will work and what won't work. I know for me, it kind of took me a minute to kind of have everything click, you know what I mean? Because I was like, man, I just want to show up and know my lines at least, you know? And
Yeah.
then being able to take direction too. Like, I feel like I take direction very well. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of more so on the modeling side of things. And I kind of say that with humor because, bro, I don't consider myself a model. Do I enjoy it? To a certain extent. On a scale of 1 to 10, maybe a 2. But the only reason why I do it or whatever it may be, it's just I take direction very well. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, but yeah, man. So what was auditioning like your first year? I don't think I asked you this question already, did I?
No,
Okay. Yeah. What was auditioning like your first year?
horrible. I did so bad.
Same.
I don't even go back and look at my auditions anymore, bro. I have this one audition and I will never let anyone see this. It's just for me. It's saved on my Google Drive. It is. So before I actually jumped into acting, I had heard that you could audition to be in Aladdin, and they had, like, this is the live action Aladdin. And they had put the sides out, and so I got the sides, and they had to have you sing, bro.
Tell me a
I
whole new world, bro. Tell me a whole new world, and you killed it, bro.
no, I did not sing a whole new world of all songs.
Dang.
I sang the Riff Raff Street Rat song because I feel like I identified with that more at the time. I was 26. I was like, yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty bad. My other auditions, dude, like just not knowing, not being aware of what the camera sees. I think that's honestly, so I've thought about starting classes at some point, not as expensive as like actual acting classes, but like very like intro level. Like, hey, I'm not an expert. I still consider myself a novice in this, but here's some things to be aware of. Like one of the things I would go back and tell myself if I could is
Think
set
like
up your camera
there we go.
and just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk to the camera. And then turn just a little bit and talk this way. And then turn a little bit and talk this way because it's going to help you practice to get away from this, which is where you profile the camera when you're talking to somebody next to you. Because it's so natural. When you're talking to somebody next to you, you're like, hey, what's up, bro? And now you're boom, the camera, your whole other eye is cut off and the camera doesn't see your eyes, right? So in acting, it's this and it's this. It's not this, unless it's a wide angle, and then it doesn't matter, or it does, but you just do what the director tells you to do. So like it's little things, and I didn't know those things back then, and I was like, how do I do this? And I feel like there was also actually I don't feel like I know that I had issues with expressing emotion because I had all these walls built up because I was very introverted growing up when we moved to Texas. Um, so having to learn how to like inside as an actor when you're starting out, you might feel like, oh, I just really yelled, I just really showed anger, and then you watch it back and you're like, yeah, that was good, and then you watch it back years later and you're like, is he mildly upset? Like, be angry.
You're
It's
gonna
that
be
kind of
your
thing. Or
biggest
be
critic.
sad. Be like, are you just mildly like, shit, that's a sad day? Or like, no, you need to be crying. Like, but it all takes work. And that goes back to those brushstrokes, right? Practice, like, bro, there are times I legit do this. I swear to God. I'll
Mm.
be driving down the road, and if I don't like, I sometimes drive for Uber and that kind of stuff. If I don't have anybody in my car, I'll sometimes just practice my emotional ranges, dude. I might, yeah, and anybody who sees it might think it's weird, but I might yell as I'm driving. I'm like, how dare you, that thing. Or like I'll sit there and I'll like think of something really, really sad and try to get myself to be on cue, have those emotional reactions, emotional responses, so I can cry when I need to. And it's hard. I'm still not there. It still takes a while for me to cry sometimes. Like 5 minutes. I'm like, come on, be a better actor. Like talking to
No, facts,
myself.
bro. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, uh, it's just it's a process.
I take my characters to the gym with me, bro, and be very moments with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, man. I do the whole sauna, so my workouts will be like 45 minutes to like an hour and a half. You know what I'm saying? If I'm able to sauna, and usually if by saying if I'm able to is if their sauna is working or not. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is around with these gyms in Mesa, but they seem to be, you know what I'm saying, not working for whatever reason. But yeah, bro, this is your place to like meditate. You mentioned you're in your car and you know you have nobody with you, so windows rolled up, rolled down, whatever that means to you, and practicing that, bro. And it's okay if you don't nail it, but guess what? You're going for it. You're stretching that muscle each and every time. You know what I'm saying? And even if you don't have a moment to practice it like out verbally, you could play it in your mind as well, visually over and over again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, so you said you take your characters with you to the gym. Like, what does that look like?
in a sense, bro, like obviously once you like receive the script, you kind of get the character breakdown. You're working on your development. For me, bro, I feel like I just want all my characters to look like they work out. This isn't meaning they're jacked. This doesn't mean any type of way. Just physically aesthetic for just for my purposes. You know what I mean? Now, if I need to play a fat guy, bro, like that's something that I actually would want to do. And this is the thing. Like I want to take a completely left turn. I want to do comedy, and I'm excited to dive into that with you. And I definitely want to play somebody who's just like out of shape. I don't know why. I'm just wanting to do that. But yeah, bro, it's the meditation for me, bro. I go to the gym, I meditate, and I try to visualize like what my character would do day to day. Take the same exact things that, as we know, to kind of be like the quote unquote like your acting 101 again, like I was mentioning, where your character is coming from, where they at, and where they're going. If they're working with somebody, working with different cameras, you don't really know cameras. I shouldn't say that until you get on set.
Hmm.
But really trying to do the backstory as much as you can. You know what I'm saying? So my first year acting, I was diving into the gym because I feel like the gym saved my life. Again, it's very therapeutic for me. It's a meditation for me. All this physicality, the gains, ripped, whatever, bro. Like I'm just thankful for it, but it's really not needed. You know, of course, God needs us to be physically strong, physically fit, but more importantly, spiritual fit. You know, and that's totally two different type of gains that we're talking about. I say gains to be funny, but I shouldn't. You know, the physicality is something that God needs, and also for us to be spiritually strong as well.
You know, that's interesting you say that because I've definitely slipped up lately on my fitness routine. Just
Mhm.
been too busy with work, and I haven't made a priority for the gym. Um, but it's something that I heard last year, where it's like you have been given this body, and how are you showing gratitude for the life you've been given? Are you taking care of your body, or are you not treating it well, not going to the gym, not eating right, not eating clean? You're filling it with poison and all this fast food and that kind of stuff. Like, or are you taking care of it, right?
Mhm.
It's interesting that you mentioned earlier something. You said that when you go to the gym, you work out with these characters. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck on that because I really, I mean, I'm sorry. I know I brought it up. You said you want to play a fat guy. Have you heard? There's a guy who was fit to fat to fit because he wanted. So he was fit already. Have you heard of him?
I've heard, I've not of that specific, but I think I've seen like there was a person who was super ripped, and in order to show not how easy, but what it takes,
Mhm.
is he ended up getting gained some weight, X amount of weight, and then he got shredded again or something like that.
Yeah, he got huge. Like he looked.
I don't want to do
Really,
that, bro. Let me
no,
get
I
the
know, but I'm
prosthetics.
saying
Let me
he
get the
did it.
prosthetics.
But he did it as a way to be like he wanted to better understand his obese clients is what it
Yeah,
was. So
yeah,
that's why he did that. I'm not saying I know that big, but
you're
it
right.
would be
That's
hilarious for a
commitment.
comedy.
Talk about method, bro. That's
Talk about a method, bro.
yeah.
Do you do method acting at all? I try to stay away from method as much as possible. I did it once and it
Why,
was
bro?
fun.
Why? Why are people so against it? Like we're not here to scare nobody with it. Like we're in control. Okay, how you gonna tell me you're a hands-on learner, but you're not a method type of actor?
So that's what I'm saying is I've done method once and I
Mhm.
had a lot of fun with it because it was for like this really douchebag character. So it was a lot of fun to just be a douchebag. Like, but it was also like a horrible person. But I feel like the reason that method acting is so taught against sometimes, and this is
Mhm.
just from books I've read and things I've read online, is because again, I think it goes back to we have this desire to be successful, obsessively so. And if you obsess over something, make sure if you're obsessing over a good thing, because if you obsess over being a method actor, you can get lost in it. And that's just the psychology of it, right? You can get lost in method if you don't have a strong enough ability to pull yourself out of it when you need to.
Well,
And I feel like that's
what's your source of strong, bro? You know what I'm saying? Because I believe in method. For me, to answer your question, absolutely, bro. I love method acting. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you're not carrying that character with you. For example, if you're playing somebody who's rude on set or an asshole, if I can just say it like that, when they say cut, I'm not still an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like and some people are different. different levels. For example, we can mention Daniel Day-Lewis, but that's a completely different realm of acting. You know what I mean? Not necessarily out of reach for us, a lot of work for sure, but to get to that level, and what I mean in the artistry, not the fame. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's another thing, bro. Like, um, what do you think about fame? What's your opinion on fame?
I it's I had an experience last what it's Sunday, 3 days ago, with somebody who found out I was an actor and then stalked me and showed up at my mom's house and called my mom because somehow her phone number was linked to me. I think fame can be a great thing. Again, it's access. I think fame is access. It gives you access to a lot of things, but I think it can be dangerous. So make sure you're protecting yourself, like protecting not just yourself, but your family as well. So something
Mm.
that we're working on now is boosting my mom's security because mine's taken care of. He didn't find me. He found my social medias and he was being all weird and social, but like they found my mom. That was freaked me out. I'm like, dude, that's my mom. Like, leave my mom alone. Like, don't, that kind of thing. I think
Mm.
fame. I think fame for fame's sake. Like, if you want fame just to be famous, you'll probably get it, but it's gonna be empty. For me, I mean, unless your fulfillment is just like, hey, I'm famous and I'm happy. Okay, then you're happy.
I've had some people straight out like just yo, bro, like not out of nowhere. I brought it up in
Yeah.
conversations, but they don't deny it. They're like, yeah, I'm trying to be famous. I want the money. I want the accolades. I want this, that, and the third. But you mentioned you'll receive all of those things and quickly find that, I love that word empty, bro. You mentioned it. And I hope nobody's got to go through it. But unfortunately, people that, we quote unquote look up to, I don't really look up to anybody in the acting, like Hollywood, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Especially with everything being exposed now. Like I used to be fans of certain people. There's certain people I like, but there's never going to be anybody that I'd be like, oh yeah, like I idolize this person. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, man, it could be a very tricky thing because you get lost in it. You're right. So you got to make sure that, and this goes back to the whole method acting, like you could lose yourself. Rest in peace, Heath Ledger. We
Yeah.
know that. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like sometimes to get the truth out of somebody, you have to put them through it. In order to really get them to feel that emotion, you have to put them through it.
No, I
Safe. You have to be safe about it, of course. And sure, roll one for safety. I say that as a joke, but again, I shouldn't say that. But practice, rehearse. I don't think rehearsing is being done enough. I don't know. People are making the excuse, we don't have the time, this and that, whatever it may be. But that's why the accidents happen. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So,
No, dude. I agree. And like, real quick, back to your question about fame. Um, that when I first started acting, my mindset was I don't care about being famous. I just want to tell stories, right? And I got away from that for a second because I wanted to be famous, and I was hanging out with some people that were very successful and very well known in the acting industry. And I was like, anywhere we go, people know these people, and then there was like some separation. And on this side of it, I'm like, you know what, dude? All I really care about is I want do I want fame in some measure? Yes, but not for the sake of just being famous.
mm,
It's more, again, for me, it's the access, because if I can get access to other roles and I can book those jobs, then I can retire my mom and I can retire my dad and I can make sure my family's set. And if I ever have kids at some point, I can make sure my kids are set, and like I can have my estate planned out. Like when I say estate, I don't mean like my death, though I guess that too, but I mean like the plot of land that I want to have with like the farm on it and like the animals and like all that like big dream stuff is going to come from whatever access fame gives me to roles that will pay me that.
mm.
That's how I think of fame. Like, it wasn't until last year sometime that the thought popped into my head one day, and I don't know how you feel, but I feel like dreams are sometimes, God given. Sometimes they're just dreams, you know. Um,
I
and
agree
this
with
might
that.
and
I
this
agree
might
with
turn
that.
out to be one of those, just a dream, but I saw myself like accepting an Oscar trophy, and so I wrote an Oscar speech. I might never get an Oscar. That's okay, but I have a speech ready just in case, and it
Mm,
gives me something to look forward to in my career. Not again for fame for the sake of fame, but for me, if I'm getting an Oscar, it's because I made such an impact in my career that other experts in my career in this field look at me and say, like, "That was a great story you told. Here's a um, here's a trophy, not a trophy, it's not the way I wanted to use, but here's an emblem of our appreciation of you telling such a pivotal, riveting story." That's more what it is for me. It's I want to be so authentically good at storytelling. And I'll tell you where that came from. I know we're taking a lot of time. I hope that's okay.
It's
But
absolutely okay, bro. Okay.
I was at
Perfect.
Deering Acting Studio is one of the master classes. I was playing the part of this priest
Mhm.
in a play called Doubt, which is a very heavy play, very heavy topics. It gets a little dark here and there, like it's heavy. And I've been playing the part of this priest. Well, afterwards, and this was our last performance of it. I was just having fun with it. I was still struggling with emotionally um, expressing like anger because of my upbringing and anger issues here and there, like with some people in my life. Um, so I was scared to express anger, and I went a little bit further with my anger than I ever had before. And afterwards, somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I want to be a preacher one day." And seeing like that care that you had for the church, like I was sitting here crying just watching you perform because I so connected with that. That was the first time anyone had ever told me that before.
Mhm.
And that was the first time that acting, I was like, oh, I get it now. We're storytellers, yeah, but we're connecting people, people that feel unseen, unheard, people that feel like they have to keep everything bottled up inside. They see us living this character who's going through exactly what they're going through, and they don't feel alone anymore. They feel like, oh, I'm not alone. This isn't a scary place. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna make it through this, right? It's that kind of thing. Like fame for me will be let me tell those stories and have a bigger audience to see those stories and feel
Mhm.
like, hey, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be all right. You're gonna make it through. It's really dark right now, but it'll be all right.
Would you say through vulnerability we're able to connect better?
Absolutely. Which is hard, right? It's hard
Yeah,
to
bro.
it's hard to get to a point as an actor where because it's easy to be a storyteller and be given somebody else's story and like learn it, but then you have to become the character as you're part of your character development, which means you have to use your own experiences to relate and then live through this other person. And so, I mean, there's some teachers who teach you not to dig up the past memories that are bad memories to get to those really vulnerable spots. Excuse me. Others tell you, no, do it. Like, I'm not one to say what is right or wrong. I'm going to say, hey, talk to your therapist. Whatever your therapist says you should do, you and your therapist make the healthiest decision for you.
Mhm.
But in any event, to get to that level where you can express that vulnerability, yeah, it's needed. It's crucially important to the story and to connecting with people. But damn, it's hard. It is
No,
hard
for
work.
sure, bro. I mean, but at the end of the day, bro, like there has to be some point of an obsession. You know what I mean? We could apply that in
Absolutely.
fitness. We could apply that in our spiritual. We can apply that in this industry. We could apply that anywhere in our relationship. You know,
Yeah,
if I don't wake up and show love to my fiance, you know what I'm saying? And if I don't do my due diligence in the relationship, if I don't wake up and go to the gym, you slowly start to lose things you're not working towards. You know what I'm saying? And many things you talked about. First of all, with the gym and your fitness, bro. As you know, it's just your health. The physicality and the way we look is just a bonus, bro. Throw that all out the window. And you'll make time for it where you can. You don't necessarily need a gym. You know what I'm saying, to get a good,
true.
effective workout. You know, here I am again with my girl, and she's like, "Let's go for a hike. Let's go for a run." And I'm just like, man, I want to go to the gym. I want to warm up and just get under some heavy weight and then hit the sauna and call it done, you
Yeah.
know? So, okay, bro. You mentioned character, man. You're talking a lot about characters. I want to ask you this. What is one character that you really want to play that you haven't gotten an opportunity to play yet?
Superheroes up there, of course.
Hmm.
Um,
What would your power be?
dude, I'll take
We're gonna speak it all the way into existence.
you know what, dude? I'll be the new. I would love to be the new Iron Man.
That'd be cool, bro.
That would be amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I have his sass, but he's a that's a great character. RDJ was perfectly cast for that too. Um, but yeah, superhero. But outside of superhero, it would. I've been watching The Rookie a lot, and I would love to be. I would say like I don't necessarily have characters I want to be on. I want to be per se. I
Hmm.
want to be a good guy. I get how you mentioned it before, like how
Good
the
say.
villain, that kind of thing. I've been
Yeah.
the villain quite a bit in my acting career. I would love to be a good guy. I actually have a film that I'm writing. So I'm on my seventh edit. Script writing is a whole other thing, dude. But it's a baseball film, so
Oh,
it'll be fun
sick.
to be a baseball player. Um, But the rookie police officer, like, I mean, it's kind of like asking, "What's your favorite song?" There's a whole bunch. What kind of role do you want to play? There's so many roles I want to play.
Mhm. Well, no, you
How about
answered
you?
it perfectly, bro. You know,
How
what's
about you,
one
though?
character? I mean, obviously superheroes for sure. I love the fact that you mentioned a specific superhero. I'll mention one. I think Wolverine would be a fun mantle to like tackle. If not him, then definitely his son Dakin. I'm a comic book nerd. I enjoy comic books. And if you're not a person who enjoys going to the store and getting like actual comic books, I'll collect a few.
Okay.
Then go to YouTube, bro, and just look up Comics Explained. Anything and everything, Marvel or DC. You know what I'm saying? Comics Explained. I'm probably gonna put the link in the
Do
in
it.
the
'Cause I'll
comments,
check
dude,
it out.
because it's sick. Absolutely, bro. But I think Wolverine or Dakin. I think Dakin would be super badass to play. He's twice as strong as his pops. He's tatted. He is a little bit taller. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3". It's cool. I'm 5'10". We got angles for that extra shit to make me look taller. You know what I mean? But the cool thing about him though is he's got the mohawk, the tats, and his third claw actually pops from his wrist, which is kind
Oh.
of gross but cool at the same time. So he's got the two like his dad and Laura, like
Yeah.
X-23 I think or X-24, and then the third one pops from his wrist. So, but
Interesting.
very much so. Yeah, but that'd be dope,
Well,
bro. Because look, man, you would be a variant, or you would be the new Iron Man, bro. And then obviously with Deadpool and the multiverse, they're gonna get old. They're gonna look for new people, bro. So we're up next, bro.
true, bro. Well, and dude, I've already seen your werewolf stuff, so like you already have experience with SFX and stuff anyway, so that's great.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. If we could kind of go back on the method, bro, like you kind of had to. You know what I'm saying? Rob was telling me, um, he was like, either I can do this on a mannequin or I can do this on you. I'll let you know. To do this on you would be the best way to get the quality on because you're moving around. Make like
Yeah.
he's gonna we're gonna circle back to that project and talking about making me a chest piece, kind of deforming my abs. So I did push myself to a limit, bro. Like I got my body fat probably unhealthy low. Like when I started, I think I was at I think 15, 16% body fat. I got
Okay.
it all the way down to like 6, 7% body fat. And for me,
Jeez.
that's quite a bit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And on
That's
the
like
days that
competition
we
level almost, yeah.
competition for what?
Like bodybuilding, like they get down to really low body fat percentages.
No, in no way, shape, or form am I experienced in that. But from what I've seen on videos, bro, if we're talking about like the pro professional levels, I mean Ronnie Coleman status, he's got it all the way down to 3%, I've heard, possibly even lower. You know what I'm saying? But you do have to be obsessed, kind of going back to that as well. And find out what works for you. I don't think that there is a certain acting technique that is the way and the only way. That's the fun thing about being an actor. There is no one way to film a movie, so there is no one way to approach it. There are things that we need to sure have those boxes checked. You know what I'm saying? Have a script, of course. I know a lot of people. That's one of the reasons that will make them say yes or no to a project. Is there a script available? But aside from that, I wanted to ask you that too. What are some of the things that will make you say yes to a script or yes to a project?
Um, I mean, I think the smaller list will probably be what would make me say no to a project. I'm still
Yeah.
like I still consider myself very much like a novice. So even though I've had some measure of success, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So I'm gonna keep myself in the novice mindset. So I would say yes to almost any project. I think again the smaller list would be the no's, right? I wouldn't want to do like I can't even think of things I wouldn't want to do because everything can be movie magicked,
Very
cigarettes,
true.
there's cigarettes, drinking, there's no real alcohol on set generally. Um, Intimate scenes are typically pretty, they're choreographed and intimacy coordinators should be on set. I think the thing that would probably make me say no to a project would be like knowing if like the project was with good people. Are these good people? They're telling a good message, is a good story? Like that would make the difference for me more than anything. I want to know that I'm doing good.
Man,
Not
what's kind of scary about that is you kind of don't know until you show up. You don't meet nobody. You're probably just working with the casting director and they're doing their job and working with you and book, callback, whatever it may be. And you're doing the same, responding, but you don't know how the people are until you get on set. And that's
true.
like a walking into the unknown, kind of thrilling, anxiety, scary. I think that's where all the emotions kind of come about. You know what I mean?
It is, but I think that's where your network comes into play, right? Because I have a big sister in the industry, and Gabby Barbosa.
Mhm.
And if I have like somebody hit me up for, I mean, they don't typically, if I submit for a project and I get like an audition for something, I might ask like, hey, what do you know about this person or, this project or this company? Like, what do you know? Like, are they good? Are they okay? And she's, very, she's been in the industry longer than me. She goes, yeah, great people. Like, you're going to have a lot of fun on set. She's a great resource as well. So I think that goes to the whole network thing, right? Gabby is like my big sis. She got my back. I got her back as her little bro.
Yeah, shout
Um,
out to Gabby, bro. I follow her on social
yeah,
media as well. I
she's
got to
great, dude.
utilize my resources more, man. I don't, and I need to, because she is somebody I have been following for a while, and she is into the horror realm. Again,
Yeah,
I'm entry level into the horror realm. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, bro, I definitely got to utilize my resources a bit more. But shout out to Gabby nonetheless.
yeah, she's great. Your network is gonna save you on those, bro, for sure.
Yeah.
If you have like a project, like there was a guy that I had auditions with on Actors Access last year. He liked my work, but I wasn't the right fit for the role, so he sent me another project, and I auditioned for that one too. Um, Never got the roles of the two projects. Fast forward, um, another friend of mine reached out and said, "Hey, I got an audition request on Actors Access from this person.
Mhm.
Um, you know, do you know who this is?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm familiar." Like, and I had nothing bad to say. I was like, I'm a very kind person. These what the roles that I auditioned for in the past. This is my experience with it. There's no, um, nothing negative. You got to protect yourself, and I feel like that's a great way to do it. Is just reach out to people that you trust and be like, hey, you ever heard of this person? What are your thoughts? Are they good? Are they not? I feel like that's the best way to go about it.
It is, and we can't say that we're not really finding our tribe, because absolutely, you had mentioned Gabby and a few other people that are there for you, and I hope I can be involved with that too, bro. I know we don't connect as much, but from the experiences that I have had with you, I can definitely go to bat for you. You know what I'm saying? Saying you're not only a great person to work with, but you're an amazing person on screen, and more importantly, you're also an amazing human being off screen. You know what I'm
Thank you.
saying? I also believe in giving the people their flowers while they're still alive. You know what I'm saying? And you know that I'm rooting for you, bro. Don't ever allow fear. Don't ever allow, and you know this, but it's also good hearing it. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever allow fear to paralyze you. You know what I'm saying? Understand that the God we serve will definitely take us there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? There, when you're not doing this by yourself either. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely there for you.
I appreciate that, and I got you back too. Like I said, like I think for
I
me
feel
the
that.
biggest thing is like the mistakes I've made
Hmm.
last year are the biggest thing. It's not necessarily fear per se. It's more guilt that held me back than anything. Um, but that being said, like
But
what
God wouldn't make you feel guilty, though. I feel like
I
that's from
know,
that's
I
kind of from the
know,
devil. You know what I mean? God wouldn't make you feel guilty. The Holy Spirit will convict you, but I don't think God will make you feel guilty.
yeah, you're right. You're right. It's a good point. And then like to your point, dude, like, yeah, bro, like this, you mentioned something on Facebook a couple days ago, dude.
Mm,
Anything I can do to help. I mean, I'll,
mm.
I'll fetch water bottles if I can. I got you, dude.
And I'll be
Got
honest
you
with you,
back.
bro. Like I don't care to be right. I just care to help. That's my only thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I've also gone through it. We can relate a lot. And people are going to hear this message. It was very uncomfortable for me to talk about like my substance abuse, and I don't want to dive into specifically what yet. I do plan
Mhm.
on coming out with like a solo video and just kind of talking about it, because we never know who's listening to this. You never know who is a fan of you, bro, and then has been waiting to talk to you, but
Yeah.
doesn't want to talk to, quote unquote, we'll say this, and I say this very lightly, but they don't want to talk to Jared the actor. They want to see what Jared's like off screen. This is
Yeah.
another reason why I want to figure out this platform a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Make it comfortable for myself and also the people that I have on. But what is, um, to wrap up our episode, what is one thing that you want to say, bro?
To who?
I mean, just period. I mean, we talked about a lot. We definitely covered a lot.
um, I guess I would say what I mean. I'm assuming most people are gonna hear this are gonna be artists, right? Actors or artists.
Hmm.
Say, hey, dude. And I guess it's just something I wish somebody would have said to me. And then in all of my downtimes that someone says to me, like my manager, for example, she says it to me a lot. She goes, hey, you got to trust the process. You're going to take way more L's than dubs. That's part of the journey.
That's very true.
Embrace it, keep it going, keep it rolling, and just, it's going to be okay. You'll get there. Like my manager was on set with or not on set. She was at some event with some of the cast of The Sandlot.
Okay,
And I
very
was
cool.
like,
That's
that's
sick.
so sick. And she
Yeah.
goes, you'll get there one day. And I'm like, it's that kind of thing. Find your tribe will find you.
Hmm.
Make sure you protect your tribe and make sure you protect your heart. But just know, like, hey, if you're serious about this, you're going to do this for the rest of your life. Not always going to be wins. You're going to take a lot more losses than wins, but those wins are going to mean so much more. And you got this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do. Jared, thank you so much. I appreciate you, bro. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you so much, bro.
yeah, dude. Thanks for having me on, brother. Appreciate you.
Absolutely, bro.